Mm-mm. Mm. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are live 104.1 WXRWLP River West Radio, your favorite live at 5 every Monday. Interstellar Vision, Intellectual Minds.
Interstellar Vision. Intellectual minds. Interstellar Vision. Honor in this living. Use the voice I'm giving. Benefiting billions. Interstellar Vision. Honor in this living. Use the voice I'm giving. Benefiting billions. Don't know where I'm going, don't know who am I. Trying to keep my brain so I look up to the high. Saying that she love me, I know she wasting time. Trying to find my vision, looking in the sky. Don't know who I am, so I'm praying at the time. So I'm interstellar, I'm about to my space, time. Try to continue to be the best that I can till the day that I die. Vision, honor in this living. Use the voice I'm giving. Benefiting billions. Interstellar vision, honor in this living. Use the voice I'm giving. Benefiting billions. Giving all the life that I have, 'cause that's what we need. You can tap into better half that bleed. They come from the souls of majesty. Erase all the pain and tragedy. I'm glad that you're here and you're next to me. I pray and repent for the wrongs I've seen. I gave every cent to my wildest dreams. I live for myself in reality. Interstellar vision, honor in this living. Use the voice I'm giving. Interstellar vision. All my days alive. Interstellar vision. All my days alive. All my days are alive. All my days are alive.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are live 104.1 WXRWLP River West Radio, your favorite live at 5 every Monday. Interstellar Vision, Intellectual Minds, hosted by yours truly, Silky Dot. I have the great honor of sharing a conversation here for the next 56 minutes with who I would recommend as the most valuable music industry connection that we have here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A gentleman that I've had the excellent fortune of being able to be around through his amazing platforms that connect the everyday regular artist that still has a job. It might be a starving artist and figuring out their path to individuals in the industry, many of whom are from Milwaukee originally, who have found a way to create a space and a lane for themselves in the music industry. A gentleman who has always kept the door open for opportunity amidst all his amazing successes, from 3 Grammy nominations for songwriting and production to real estate ventures, a family man, and the owner of Big Sound Music and the Amplifier Community Connection, Chad Roper.
What's up, Silk? How you feeling, brother?
Well, I'm fortunate, honored, and grateful to share some time with you, and I'm feeling as amazing as I can for the collection of decisions that have brought my life to where I am right now.
Absolutely, bro. That's how you gotta be, man. I always like to tell people, man, anger is not a strategy, and frustration is not a business plan. And what that means is that the decisions that you've made in life are already happened. But what you have to do is learn to adapt and learn to pivot with those decisions, depending on what they did or did not do for you. So that's a good place to be, my brother. For real, it's a good space.
I appreciate it. Let's start with one of my favorite ideas that I learned from you, and that is that availability.
Your best ability is your availability.
I love it. So for people who it's their first time hearing that your best ability is availability, maybe share that story and the principle behind it.
Yeah. So what happened was I don't remember, maybe 20 or so years ago, I was a crisis stabilizer, and at the time, the Democratic party was in office in Wisconsin, and then it changed to Republican. We had a governor by the name of Scott Walker. I'm not here to talk about affiliations. I'm just here to tell you what occurred when those different demographics got involved. When the Republican Party got involved, which they normally do is cancel all of the funding things that help individuals in the city in whatever state or city that's going on. Just like, for example, the Republicans are in office now, they remove SNAP benefits and things that help people that need help, as opposed to the Democrats who may, implement those things, those policies back in place. Well, at this time, Scott Walker was the governor, and there was a program called Wraparound, and that was a crisis stabilizer helping struggling families, mothers, and so on and so forth with young people that had issues. Well, he cut the funding because what he wanted to do, he wanted to give tax breaks to the rich. So what that did was took away funding for those who actually needed it for services. And so we all, our crisis stabilizers at the time, lost our job. Well, that looked like a point where we were being buried, where the company that I was a part of was being buried, or me as a crisis stabilizer was being buried. But what the policymakers didn't understand when it came particularly to me, they didn't know the difference between burying somebody and planting somebody. So what they really were doing was planting me. So my friend Sounds called me on that. This happened on a Monday when they canceled all the funding. So obviously we're jobless. On Tuesday, on Monday afternoon, Sounds calls me. And he's a producer friend, a bunch of Grammys and things of that nature. We work with everybody from Nicki Minaj to Rihanna. We did Rihanna, work with Rihanna together. We did a lot of art. We work with Brandy together. Man, we just called to check on each other. So he called and said, "What's going on with you, man?" I said, "Nothing going on. I just lost one of my gigs." You know what I'm saying? So he's like, "Man, when next time you coming to LA?" I said, "I'm coming tomorrow. I'll be there tomorrow." So I booked the flight and flew out there the next Tuesday. I landed about 11. He picked me up from the airport and said, "Man, I got a call last night to go to a Rihanna writing camp." I was like, "Word." You work on a project, yeah. So at the time, L.A. Reid was working on her project. So I went to the writing camp because I was in town, which was that I literally went from the airport with him to the first session. And in that session is when we did, in those sessions is when we did Skin, which Skin was one of the songs that got me my first Grammy nomination. And I tell people, had I not gotten fired from my job or the funds had not been taken away, I would have not been present or available to be there for that situation. So it's when they thought they buried me, they really planted me for a bigger purpose. And after that, I never had a job since that point. So a lot of times we look at things and think that those downfalls are the worst of these, but really they're the best of these that happen to us. So the only reason why I was able to do that is because I was available. You can never do anything if you're not available to do it. So your best ability is being available. All right, that's where I got that from.
So What do you say for people that may be in situations where it looks like they're unavailable, right? What if your job program didn't get cut and someone has an opportunity in this time and they were invited out to come to LA? How would you recommend someone navigates that situation?
Yeah, in that situation, you have to. It all depends on what your responsibilities are. As a man, I am married. I was married at the time, so my responsibility is first to my household. And see, as men, we have to view things differently. But when we in a relationship, the best thing that we can do as men is pick the right partner. Everything, whether it's your dreams, your aspirations, your gifts, your abilities, they all stand on the person that you pick as a partner. Whether it's a same-sex partner or man-woman partner, it don't matter. Your partner determines a lot in your life, so you have to make sure you pick the correct partner. Now, if you're working as a team, things can change where you can still take those trips and things of that nature if you're working as a team. So it just varies on your. I never like to tell people leave your job, do all this. I'm not telling them like that. I'm telling people to understand what their financial responsibilities are to themselves or to others or to those who depend on them first. Then make the wise decision. Because at the end of the day, you always have to have wise decision. You always have to have wise counsel, meaning those you can reach to that are in senior of you who've done it before. But I always tell people make sure. At the time, I still could have went because I had a great partner. My partner was good, so it was no problem for me to make that trip. And instead of doing a month out there, which is what I did, maybe do 4 days. So it's just a big difference in making sure your responsibilities are covered. Because I'm speaking as a man, because that's what I am. I always have to make sure my responsibilities are covered first, and I tell all men the same thing.
Now, you did speak on never returning back to a job after having gone out and succeeded in LA, essentially. What are some of your financial suggestions? Because not everybody that goes out to a songwriting camp, even if they are able to get in a situation, I'm not sure what the financial rewards were specifically from that camp. However, we do have these situations that are very common where people come from anywhere, make it big, and then go broke. However, you were able to sustain your path of not necessarily even making it big, but making it self-sustainable so that you could continue to do more work that you love. Not necessarily that you didn't love the crisis stabilizer position, but you were working towards your music.
Right. So I always tell people to live below their means. What that means is if you have a job and your bills are $2,000 a month, and you're living, and your job provides that, when you start making more money, still live at that $2,000 a month as if you were still in your job. So because now, let's say you make $30,000 in a month, when normally that takes you 6 months. If you can make it in a month or 2 months, well, now you're already ahead of your bills by several years. And that was my thing. So what I did was, while I was a crisis stabilizer, I was also a teacher. And while I was teaching, I had a candy store in the school I taught. So I was making $27,500 as a school teacher, but I was making $45 untaxed dollars as with the candy store. So instead of me spending money balling out on the $45,000, I was stacking that $45,000. So when the crisis stabilizer gig ended, it ended the same time I put in my resignation as a teacher, and I just literally sped the process up of moving to Atlanta, Georgia. So I ended up moving, and I took the funds that I had, that 90 to 100K, and used it to pay up 24 months worth of bills that I had, and still had money left over so that I could sustain. And I had a 24-month head start on chasing strictly my dreams and not having to worry about the financial things. So what I had a plan. I didn't just jump out the window. Most people fail because they plan. They do not plan. So if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, basically. So that's what it is. I had a plan for something to happen anyway. Things just occur in a faster pace than I already was expecting. So that's basically what I tell people. Make sure you put a plan together. And that's why having the right partner is extremely important. Because when you're, as a man, if you're trying to save but your woman trying to spend, or your partner trying to spend, is taken away from the ultimate goal as a unit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's extremely important for us to learn as individuals, especially in the Black and brown community, because we spend more than we have as a whole, as a community. And I think that's one thing that we have to get under wraps, that we will spend $2 trillion a year, but then we are last in all of the wealth categories. You know what I'm saying? So we got to make sure we're spending in the right places, bro, and preparing.
We are going to take our first song break and then come right back to this fantastic conversation. Let's go ahead and hit Everybody by FTBK.
I used to see the light in everybody, now I feel the light in heaven. Whoa, who will touch me? I've been fan high. You ain't living when your head is low. Everybody move ahead, but they headed the wrong way. I feel like I'm moving slow. Every step I keep on losing folks. Every breath I keep on speaking growth. We ain't passing no hard times, let them settle in. I ain't settling. I keep on pedaling till I be veteran. You can't handle me or what I've been peddling. Different degree, looking like a freshman. Behind the bars, I know I see the evidence. Isn't it evident? I was always like this. I just wanna live to see the end and all the light in everybody. Now I feel the light in heaven. Whoa, who will touch me? I've been fan high. You ain't living when your head is low. Everybody move ahead, but they headed the wrong way. I feel like I'm moving slow. Every step I keep on losing folks. Every breath I keep on speaking growth. We been tired, man. Leave the lights on. It was me and Luca with some big dreams. It was me and Marcus as a big bros. After Mikey after shows and big pose. Now we barely speaking, we up grown. I'ma see you when we back in Kino. Hope you eating while you out on your own. Cause y'all my brothers don't forget where we going. That's on everybody. Now I feel the light in heaven. Whoa, who will touch me? I've been fan high. You ain't living when your head is low. Everybody move ahead, but they headed the wrong way. I feel like I'm moving slow. Every step I keep on losing folks. Every breath I keep on speaking growth. You should see the light in everybody. Now I feel the light in heaven. Whoa, who will touch me? I've been fan high. You ain't living when your head is low. Everybody move ahead, but they headed the wrong way. I feel like I'm moving slow. Every step I keep on losing folks.
Yo, 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 what's going on, y'all? We're live on 4.1 WXR WLP River West Radio, your favorite live at 5 every Monday. Interstellar Vision, Intellectual Minds. Hanging out with the good brother, one of my favorite mentors on the planet, Chad Roper. Big Sound Music, Amplifier Community Connection. Let's go ahead and tap in a little bit. Actually, it fits well with our off-air conversation about Amplifier Community Connection and what that can do for artists and young creatives who are interested in pursuing the music industry.
Yeah, so I created Amplifier as a podcast. I partnered with Radio Milwaukee when I started it, and I would bring in different friends of mine who were in the industry, whether it was Rico Love, whether it was PDA, whether it was, it didn't matter who it was. It was different professional, Marcella, Rakia, a lot of friends of mine who were in the industry, and I wanted people from Milwaukee to be able to have access to those individuals to pick their brains, or send the music business boy. I hate business boys working with some of the people that have sent him records and stuff now, but my goal was to make people understand the business of music. Like we were just talking off air, I don't care about what an artist sounds like. That's irrelevant to me. I'm 48, so my playlist is not going to be whoever it is. My playlist is going to be Jay-Z. My playlist is going to be Boyz II Men. My playlist is going to be Jodeci. My playlist is going to be, Roger and Zapp. That's my playlist. So it's irrelevant what it sounds like. My goal is to teach people how to make money off of the music that they have or that they create. So that's what Amplifier. So Amplifier went from being a podcast to now it's a community sponsored by school. So we're on the school platform where they could join, pay a monthly subscription, and get all the access to things that they wouldn't if they don't have a team and they have negotiations. We help them negotiate. If we have courses on the inside there, we have a classroom to their courses. 10 of them are by me. 2 of them, we have Will Roundtree did a course on business funding. We had Coach Locke talks about self-sabotaging, how sometimes, because I had an artist who started off working in a hotel, and then once we got signed, she went from making, maybe 30, 40 grand a year to millions, and that can be scary to somebody. So we talk about the mental aspect of everything as well. We talk about that so that people don't self-sabotage their career or self-sabotage their success. So there are things in there. We also have weekly meetings every week, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. We're on live inside the platform where you literally just log on the platform on your phone or on your computer and just jump on the live with us. We had last week Will came in and did a conversation with everybody along with myself. We had Devon who talked about a social media platform where you can put all your social medias in one spot. So we just bring different people in. Rico came in one time and did something for us. We had Big Man from Real Street Comedy. He came in and talked about how he built this platform. So we got different people coming in so often, but we do it every week. And what we did another thing we did last week was for those in the community that like to get their songs placed into TV and film. I have some friends. Actually, one of my mentees is now running the music supervision department over at LVRN right now. Where Summer Walker's her label, but they have a TV and film department. So I send him records from our community members that have good caliber music that are looking to get their songs placed into TV and film. And it's not free. They get paid off of that. So it's just through my community, through my connections. So when you join my community, you get the connections I get, whether it's an attorney, a good friend of mine, Attorney Mario Relove. He did all of the key deals with me, all the deals that we did with her, whether it was with Quality Control or whether it was with Motown. He helped me and him negotiate those deals together. So we'll be just providing platforms. It's a platform that provides the business. We don't care. Like, I want to say this. Me judging your music is not going to get you to where you want to be, because I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm not your demographic. You find your tribe, your demographic. But my thing is, I want to help you understand how to monetize that. That's what my community is about. It's the business of music, not the music business. All right.
First off, I want to put a slight plug in here for the good people. Get your 7-day free trial.
For sure.
And then secondly, on top of that, you're going to have 2 options, and I'm just going to recommend that you go for the higher option on the monthly subscription, mainly for the huge benefit that the higher option or the higher grade package comes with individual consultations with you.
Yeah, for sure.
That are beyond affordable to what it may be outside of the Amplifier Community Connection.
Absolutely. So, for example, if you're in my community, you get to meet with me weekly for $35 anyway. Like, that's what it's a $35 tier and it's a $60 tier. The $35 tier, you get access to everything, all the grants. We do 50 to 60 grants every month that you can apply for. Right there, you can download it. It's a PDF form or it's a Windows form, a Microsoft Office form. So you can download it and you can literally click the links right in there. Grants from $50,000, $200,000 to $5,500. It's just $500 grants, whatever. There are several amount of grants in there that everybody has access to, no matter your tier. The only difference is the $60 tier gets to directly connect with me 2 to 3 times a month. Literally, that's the $60 tier. And most people that join do that because they need help, with something, because they don't have a team. So if you don't have a team, everywhere most artists are trying to go, I've been there as a songwriter, producer, vocal producer, engineer, and I've also been there as a manager. So when people try to make the million-dollar deals, I've done it. I've done it with a young lady named Nakia from Milwaukee. So anything that people trying to do, I try to give game to the different other teams. Like I spoke with JP's manager, a young man named Miles maybe a year or so ago. I spoke with Maya P when she was having her fairy moment. You know what I'm saying? I spoke with her. So I speak with a lot of artists end up reaching out to me, and I speak with them if they have something. But now people like to send me music and DM me questions and all that. I'm not responding to none of it. If you want to have access to me, join the community. It's cheap, because if you join Netflix and Netflix ain't giving you no game, you can join my community and actually get the game for something that you say is your dream. So that's what it is. I just get an opportunity to have access. And everybody, people that came on Amplifier, they are a part of the community. In my Rico Love is in my community. You know what I'm saying? All these different people are in the community as well. So yeah, man.
And all are welcome, right? People can have a challenge with worthiness.
For sure.
You spoke on misvalue essentially, or also the misappropriation of spending that you spoke on, the trillions of dollars.
Yep.
And $35 or $65 a month compared to 10 on Netflix, or $500 going to a club, or whatever, this or that. What do you think particularly in the Black and brown community, or simply people that maybe have grew up in more hostile conditions, more impoverished conditions, what stops people from spending appropriately?
So in our community is this: we think anybody who's trying to, anytime you have to pay for knowledge, we feel like it's a scam, and the scam is you would spend your money on things that will not bring you a return, but then there are things that will bring you a return that you'll be skeptical about. You know what I'm saying? Like I hear people all the time talk about how the different, because I'm not a guru. Like these people that are guru, I'm not a guru. I did it. Like what I'm talking, anything I said I've done, you can Google it and see it. Chad C. Note Roper, you can Google it and see the proof. So the difference with most people is they're finding these get rich quick schemes, and they know get rich quick in the music industry. I don't care what nobody tell you. You know what I'm saying? Unless Jay-Z saw you himself and grabbed you, then yeah, you can get rich quick that way. But the average person, you have to put in the work. And in the work, even with my work, it cost me to get mentors throughout my years. I didn't get free mentorship. I wasn't blessed to have a me. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could pay somebody $50 a month to get mentorship. I would have paid it for the year. You know what I'm saying? Like, but a lot of times what we look for is we spend money on things that entertain us instead of educate us. And to me, that's where our downfalls are. Because if you spend some money to educate you, you'll have plenty of money for entertainment at the end of the day. And I'm not, and for the record, I'm financially amazing. So I'm not here to power sell a community. It's you don't have to be, you get to be a part of my community. If I can say that right, it's like when you go to church, they raise offering. Most people think you gotta give. No, you get to give if that's what you choose to do. And that's how my community, we're fine, we're doing great. But if you need help and you want help and you want direction, come on in. Everybody's welcome. It doesn't matter who it is, what level you're on. We go from the novice to those who are on high levels. And at the end of the day, most of the people that's in there are higher level people because they understand the concept and the benefit of that. I was just telling y'all earlier, I met this young lady. She reached out to me via Instagram, which most people do. She DM'd me about, she had some questions, and I told her I was starting a community. So she's like, well, as soon as you started, let me know because I want to join because I got so many questions. And no sooner than I started, I think she was the third person to join because she had questions. And this is a young girl. This young lady, maybe early 20s. But but I can tell I started watching her social media as she reached out to me. I can tell how much hustle she has as a person, that she's a very serious person about whatever it is that she's looking to get involved in. So those are the type of artists I respect. Her music is not my demographic. It actually sounds good to me too. But the thing is, she's trying to figure out, and when I start explaining what you should do, when I said these young ladies start doing all that, she everywhere, she going hard on something. Most people, I have a project, bro, ain't got free social media. It costs you nothing to be on Instagram, it costs you nothing to be on Facebook, it costs you nothing to be on TikTok, it costs you nothing to be on Twitter or X or whatever. They won't even promote their song, and it's free. So, but you want somebody to invest in something that you won't promote for free. It makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? And also, we don't just have artists. We have managers in there. We have stylists. We have all type of people. Anything you can think of, we have in our community. It's not just people think it's just artist driven. No, there are managers in there that's trying to learn how to move their artists around. Which is what I had my artist book. I had Lakia book 3 times a week when she started. Literally 3 times a week. So we run, and we not just booked, we booked all over the country 3 times. We ended up being booked, whether it was Canada, whether it was New Zealand, London. We booked everywhere. So I can show you how to move your artists around as well once you build that cachet. But what most managers don't understand is the artists think that they have to make things happen, but the artists are the product and they are the brand. If that brand is not something that's marketable or in a position to sell, there's nothing the manager can do. And that's where most artists get things mixed up. They think the manager is supposed to turn water into wine. But ain't no manager, Jesus. They can't turn water into wine. You have to give them something to manage. So I'm teaching managers in there of how to give real expectations to the artist. Like, you got 3,000 followers on social media and you barely post. How am I supposed to market that? You know what I'm saying? So some things, that's what I liked about when I was working with Lakia. My job was to make sure her business was tight and she could move around. She was on social media. And that was one young lady who promoted herself. She would post her song 3 times a day. She would post 2, 3, 4 times a day on social media. So I didn't have to push her to post. Now, she wasn't too cool. And to me, that's what artists a lot of times, they're too cool. They think it's lame and all that type of stuff, which is crazy. Can't nobody promote you like you. So
we're going to take another song break off of All This Wisdom. I hope y'all are tapping in and getting this free game right here on Interstellar Vision, Intellectual Minds. This is Slow by Aya.
Trust me, I know this is terrifying. You're just as scared of being used as I am. We're both used to the pain and the lies and the long-winded nights that end with crying. It's so hard to believe I deserve you. After all the things I put myself through, maybe we should just take it slow from here. My mind is apprehensive, but in my heart it's so clear. Maybe we should just take it slow from here. Mind is apprehensive, but in my heart it's so clear. I just wanna know, why does this feel so comfortable? This beating battered heart is free, I hope you know. There's so much in here left for you and me to let go. But I'll stay right here until then. I won't let you go through all that again. Oh, watch the feelings flow. just take it slow from here. My mind is apprehensive, but in my heart it's so clear. Baby, we should.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are live on 104.1 WXRW LP River West Radio, your favorite live at 5 every Monday. Interstellar Vision, Intellectual Minds, hosted by yours truly, Silky Dot. We are sitting here with Chad C-Note Roper, Grammy-nominated producer, songwriter, as well as the owner of Big Sound Music and the Amplifier Community Connection. Now, one thing I want to share, Chad, is, this is a unique question now because you've revolutionized the game and you have created probably the best solution for this question that had been a challenge for me for almost 10 years, as I think anybody that's finding their way in the music industry without any connections themselves. And that is, where does a new artist start? Where do you start to grow as you are being planted,
Right.
not buried? And of course, without zero doubt of a question, my number one suggestion would be, hey, join the Amplifier Community Connection.
Yeah, but the way you can do it is this: start with your own, those who know you, the surrounding area that you're in. So I always tell artists, when you are starting out, your goal should be collaboration. Collaboration beats competition any day. I think there are too many artists trying to compete instead of collaborate. Most things get done at a high level and are very successful because they work together. All of the championships, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, whatever, those teams, each player on that team or position has to do their job. They have to beat. I used to tell when I play basketball, the point guard needs to beat the point guard on the other team. The center needs to beat the center on the other team. The shooting guard needs to beat the shooting guard on the other team. So our goal is to be better in our position than the other person is on the opposite side, right? So to me, that's the goal. Most artists need to learn the art of collaboration over competition, because when you collaborate, there are more ideas, there are more opportunities, there are more things available, whether it's fan bases. The goal of featuring on somebody's song is not just because you like that artist, but because you want to have access to their fan base as well. So that's called collaborate. The art of collaboration helps bring things to you. So to me, that's what it's about. Where somebody should start is to find out who they can collaborate with. That's the most important to me. Is once you can find those you can collaborate with, whether it's another artist, a manager or a stylist or whatever, find those you can collaborate with. Then you can take your thing to the next level. To me, that's extremely important.
The follow-up to that is, what stops people? So what makes people, or has our society so competitive rather than wanting to collaborate?
Ego. So you can't allow ego to dictate what you have going on. When you can remove ego from any situation, now we are doing the best that we can for what we can do for one another or for whatever the situation causes. And to me, most people don't collaborate because of ego, and that right there is a dream killer for the person who has the ego, not those who you don't want to work with, because they're gonna move forward anyway. So to me, you have to remove the ego first.
You just spoke on dream killers, and probably I'm gonna go with one first. We got two of my favorite hashtags. Number one is dreams never expire. Where did that come from? Why does that idea matter?
Dreams Never Expire is a nonprofit organization that I created I started off as something that I would have when I would go around the country as a writer and producer. I would speak in different schools and universities, and that was the company. That is my nonprofit that I did it under, and then it changed into a situation where I partnered with different healthcare facilities to provide to be the liaison between the healthcare professionals and the community to get our community to be more healthy as a community, where they were getting blood pressure checked, make sure we were on top of that, watch our diets, getting checked for cancer screenings, things of those nature. So that's what Dreams Never Expire ended up going into, and then it went from there to partner with the state of Wisconsin, where we help at-risk young people learn how to record and produce in Logic and Pro Tools. We did that program for 3 years, with partner with the Wisconsin Community Service. So our goal was to continue to give people education. The Dreams Never Expire is basically giving education in different areas of life for the community that we served. And at that time, we were serving the communities across the country in the big cities. Then we went from that to partnering with the hospital system here in Wisconsin, here in Chicago, and then we went from there to partnering with the Wisconsin Community Service to help young people that had made some mistakes but were correcting their mistakes, and we were giving them a skill to use as they made those corrections.
I love what you just said about working with youth that are correcting their mistakes. We've all made mistakes. We all need correction. We all need redemption, repentance, forgiveness, and all those beautiful high vibrations that allow us to show up to life every day with a clean slate in our heart. To me, Dreams Never Expire is highly personal to my priorities of community work, because I personally believe that some of the biggest solutions, the simplest solutions to a lot of our youth criminal activity or delinquency or whatever word somebody wants to use, disruption, has to do with them having a lack of pathways to pursue their dreams. And my question to you is, as Milwaukee born and raised, Rufus King High School graduate, from the city, what do you say to a young student, young person, any age, 5 to 19, that feels hopeless and wants to essentially give up on life and that it's not worth it?
I like to tell people to understand how important gratitude turns what you have into enough, and that's the problem. A lot of times we're not grateful for what we have, so then there's not more given to us. It's hard to give you more when you show lack of gratitude for what you have. So I tell those, and people say, well, I may have nothing, but you may have somewhere to sleep, you may have something to eat, things about the small things. As you begin to be grateful for the small things, the big things will appear. But it goes in phases, and a lot of times when you have gratitude, you start to see situations instead of them being problems as opportunities. And I think, to me, that's extremely important for us to be able to understand the difference between what problems are and what opportunities are. Because a lot of times the problems we face are opportunities for us to grow in some kind of form or fashion. And I think for those individuals who may be facing those, I'll say hurdles, just for lack of a better term, hurdles are meant to slow you down for a reason. So you can calibrate. When you look in the Olympics, when the 100-meter race happens, the times are much faster than the 100-meter hurdles because each runner has to jump over something. So that it counts for time. But what it does is it allows their mind to channel into the timing of run, jump, run, jump, instead of just running. So it's the same concept applies. Instead of just sprinting, you're going to have to jump sometimes. Sometimes you're going to have to crawl under some things. That time allows you to prepare yourself. A lot of times we ask for things, but we don't prepare for the things we ask for. So then when we get the things that we've been asking for, we're not prepared to maintain those things. So I think those individuals who are going, because we all grew up rough and tough. I grew up with 2 drug addict parents, but that wasn't an excuse. That was an opportunity. But it was all on how I viewed it as an excuse or an opportunity. So I think as young people, they should view things more as opportunities instead of obstacles. And I think there's a difference between the two.
We are going to take likely our last song break here. Let's go ahead and pull up TSG AP. We're going to go drifting away. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We're live 104.1 WXRWLP River West Radio, your favorite live at 5 every Monday. Interstellar Vision, Intellectual Minds. We are wrapping up here with Grammy-nominated producer and songwriter, owner of Big Sound Music and the Amplifier Community Connection, Chad C-Note Roper. Chad, definitely have appreciated the conversation thus far.
Likewise, brother.
We're extracting all the wisdom that we can, and it's been plentiful. So we had just talked in a little bit on the youth work and your experience with Wraparound. And you worked as a teacher, which I had forgot about.
Mm-hmm.
One piece on the story: how did it happen to be that you resigned as a teacher at the same time as the Wraparound? Were you planning to go all in on Wraparound?
So what happened was I was going to resign for everything. So, but the program ended in March of the same year when the school year was ending in June. So I had to finish to June. You know what I'm saying? But that part ended in March. So it was literally a couple months apart.
So you finished teaching till June?
Yeah, I finished my semester. I didn't want my young people that I was teaching to not have. So I finished, and in June that summer is when I left.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. So that ended prior to, because I know most new administrations come in anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So they was able to do all the moves by March when it ended. So March going into April, everything ended with that. But then I still had April and May to just finish, which was 2 months.
Did you still spend that? You said you spent the full month though in LA after Wraparound closed on Monday. You left to LA that Tuesday, right?
Oh yeah, I left.
That was in March or that was in June?
That was in April.
Oh, April.
That was literally the same, like the next day. So I went and stayed, but you got vacation, and back if you don't use it, you lose it. You remember that rule back in the day? So that used to have a thing if you didn't use. So what I did was I just burnt all my vacation at one time. So basically, they just had a sub running for me, and then I came back, did the last little month. Just left a little whatever, because end of the year now, it don't matter at that point. When it's April or May, the school year over, boss. You just taking the time, filling up days. You know what I'm saying? So then after that, we just kept it moving, bro, and that was it. Everything was smooth.
I love it.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about another one of your hashtags that I've got to know quite well, which is that success has receipts. Where did that hashtag come from, and how should people be applying that to their life?
Yeah, I always tell people when they deal with quote unquote gurus or people that's trying to teach them something, somebody who's mentoring them or whatever, make sure that what they are talking to you about is something they've experienced, like not secondhand information. So anything that I talk to you about in the music industry is about things that I've experienced, like whether it was working with an artist or negotiating a situation for an artist or whatever. I've actually done it. I'm not speaking on what I heard. I'm speaking on what I've done. So a lot of times people will speak on things they've heard. They got second and third hand information. That's what I mean by success has receipts, meaning you were successful at what you're speaking on. And if it's like somebody trying to teach you how to do real estate but don't own property, well, how you teach me how to do real estate if you don't own any properties? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by success has receipts. So if somebody's teaching you how to do real estate, they should have a portfolio to show you what they're doing. You know what I mean? So that's why when I say success has receipts, meaning those individuals like me, I may have lost, but I was at the Grammys. I've been there. I know what it's like. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference. Success has receipts. That's what I mean by that.
I'm going to pivot the conversation a little bit,
Yes, sir.
and transition into a conversation on faith, which maybe we got 8 minutes left.
Go ahead.
In regards to the word faith, what does the word faith mean to you, and how do you use it? Hold on. I need to get as much of this as I can. This is a great question for me. I love faith. So what does faith mean to you, and how do you use it in your life?
So for me, I grew up learning that faith was being able to believe in something that you can't see. And to me, all those individuals who are able to create, let's just stay on music, for example, to create a song out of, start with nothing and have a complete finished product, they had to have faith in their abilities or their God-given gifts that they could come up with, they can create something from nothing. So to me, faith for me is being able and having the ability to create things that I can't see, but that I can see in my mind. And at the time when I was coming up in the music industry, there weren't many people like myself, or there weren't many people from our city that I could look to and connect with that were doing it. So I had to have faith in what I was getting ready to do, or what I wanted to do in order to be successful in it. And in faith, you have to make sure you take the risk, the correct calculated risk in doing things as well. I think a lot of times, sometimes quote unquote faith don't work for people because they think they can get things done just by manifesting it. But people don't understand manifestation requires work. So you gotta, in order to have just faith about something is cool, but you gotta, faith without the work part does not create anything. So you gotta put the work along with the faith. And a lot of times people leave the work piece out. I like to tell people when people aren't successful, like losers like to blame other people for their mistakes. Winners like to blame themselves for the mistakes that are made so they can get better. And losers like to blame other people so they can feel better. So a lot of times, if you have faith in yourself, with that faith, accountability shows up. So now that accountability is showing up for yourself because you're trying to get better, you start to knock on that window and start to open, I should say, that window of faith that you had, because now you're putting in the work to move whatever it is you're looking to do forward. And I think what we have to get out of the way for ourselves is, think about a basketball player. Okay, let's use LeBron. LeBron was born with special gifts and abilities, whether it's his size, his agility, his intellect on the court. It only made it that far because even though he had a God-given gift that he was born with, the difference was he built it. He continued to build on what he was given, the ability. A lot of times we won't build on the gifts that we have. So being born with something won't last if it's not being built. So I would rather have something that's been built than something that's been born, because the thing that's been built is going to last much longer. And I think a lot of times when you're gifted in areas, you don't work on what you're gifted at. You just literally continue to go off of your gift instead of starting to hone and feed that gift and build on that gift. And that's when you know someone understands the real meaning of faith. Faith is not just something that's going to happen. It requires work for something to happen. So you got to have faith and work together for things to occur when it comes to whatever you're trying to achieve.
It's a beautiful message. Faith without works is certainly dead. I tested it and it was dead. Mm-hmm. So get in there and put some hours in. If anybody is interested in connecting with you and keeping up with what you have going on with work, personally, of course, a huge emphasis is the Amplify community connection. Mm-hmm. How are the best ways for people to follow your story online? Just
join me. Come on social media, Chad Cedar Roper on all platforms, and just check me out. That's it. We just you can learn a lot from me from just coming on my social media page. You don't have to be in a community. Just come on my social media. I drop gems on social media every day. It's for nothing. So just come follow me on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. Just check me out. You're going to learn something.
Also, books available.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the books, man. Yeah, we got books too. Just put my name into the Amazon. And if it's a book or two you like, go ahead and grab a book or two. They're also in my social media things as well. So you can, whatever. I drop excerpts on my social media pages from my books as well. So you can get it for $0 right there for free. Right there on social media. Just follow me on social media, Chad Cedar Roper, and you can just get what you need. You know what I'm saying? As much as you need.
Likely the final question. If today is your last day on Earth, mm-hmm. and you are guaranteed not to have another breath after midnight tonight, mm-hmm. and you are given a stone tablet that does talk to text, and whatever you say into it gets engraved into it, mm-hmm. and after you're passing, the whole world gets a hologram of your tablet so they can see what you wrote on it,
yep.
You are assigned with the task of leaving your top 2 success principles of how to live the most heavenly, righteous, God-aligned life possible, mm-hmm. on this earth. What are those 2 suggestions that you are leaving for the world to follow?
Okay. One is, a legacy is not what you leave for people, it's what you leave in people, because it grows exponentially at that point. So that's one. And then another one is, one thing about a dream, it never expires.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just had an amazing conversation here on River West Radio with Chad Roper. Chad, thank you so much for sharing the receipts and reminding the people that dreams never expire. It's all possible, ladies and gentlemen. Continue to move forward with whatever you have at hand today. And remember, gratitude. Maybe look at your situations as an opportunity rather than a hurdle that you're not able to get over.
Absolutely.
Yeah. be a love. Found the holy God, asking me to show where I wanna go. Never be a love. Heaven is my home. Never be a love. Found the holy God.